Hey guys, welcome back to Overtakes. This is Misfit.
And I'm Kel.
And we're here with our Week 5 Power Rankings. So, we had an interesting week this week. We had a bunch of teams really just come out of nowhere that we thought were going to be good in the beginning of the year. And some teams just fail. And so, let's dive in. Let's move up to number 10.
Yeah. And this is another one that we agree on.
Yeah. Guangzhou Charge.
The Guangzhou Charge, yeah. They're are
up and down, but they have glimmers of excellence.
Brilliant. Absolutely dominant. And they have the potential to be a very, very good team. They
do. And I think they're better than Hanzhou right now because they figured out some of the communication issues.
Hands down, they're the best Chinese team.
Yeah.
Not even a question in my
mind.
And
they're super fun to watch.
Oh, yes.
I think they're the actual fun team to watch. Fucking watching Hotba just play whatever the hell they put him on is amazing.
Yes.
I mean, he was killing it on Farah, man. He was going nuts. And I like this team. There's just times when they can't finish. Mm-hmm. The Gladiators kind of rolled them after that first map. And I want them to do better. I think, they're new. They're growing. I think 10's a good slot for them. They're kind of in the middle.
That's probably the most appropriate spot for them.
Yeah, right now.
They're just right in the middle. They have the potential to be a lot better, but there's just better teams out there right now.
Yeah, and we'll see. Like we keep saying this, and I hate sounding like a broken record. When the meta shifts, they could bounce up because they're used to running more DPS heavy comps and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So I think some of these Chinese teams with their quote unquote wacky strats, they have a one up on a lot of these guys.
Yeah, where I think they could all kind of make a big jump once the meta shifts.
Yeah, because some guys, you're going to be rusty. I don't care what anyone says. Like, if you've been playing Zarya and then all of a sudden you got to play, Tracer or McCree, that's a different style of play.
Right.
You're going into two totally different realms.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's just...
Or someone like Carpe's got to go from playing Zarya to like a Widowmaker or something like that.
Right. I don't think it's going to be... there's definitely going to be some rust, and it's going to affect some teams more than it's going to affect other teams for sure.
Yeah. I'm sure these guys are grinding some of this stuff too.
Oh, yeah.
Especially the teams on this week coming up that are off.
Right. I'm sure that there's teams that are running scrims on the PTR. Actually, we know that they're doing that.
Yeah.
Just trying to figure out how it's all going to play out.
And what's going to work the best and all that stuff. Because I'm sure that, we're recording this Monday night. I'm assuming Tuesday, which we're not going to have, this will probably be up Tuesday night, Wednesday morning. Tuesdays, the stuff's going to drop.
My guess actually is Thursday. Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking Tuesday or.
Yeah, I would say probably Tuesday or Thursday, but my guess is Thursday because for whatever reason, whenever they drop a hero, because usually if they drop a map or just an update of some kind,
it's Tuesday.
With an event, it's on a Tuesday, but with heroes, it's always on a Thursday. I think they just want a little bit of extra time.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's what's going to happen with that.
Yeah, and we'll see what happens with him too.
Yeah.
But I think in the upcoming metas, they could make a surge. That's another Gatorade flavor, isn't
it? Probably.
and why has nobody named their team the Surge?
Yeah, right. Well, we've got every other
San Diego Surge.
Every other synonym for electricity.
Power.
So might as well get the Surge in there now.
We even have Fusion.
Right.
Okay, enough with the power already. Can we just kind of...
Right? Can we get something else there, guys? It's got to be something. All right. So at number 9, we agree again, and that is the Boston Uprising.
Granted, they played the Mayhem, but they're slowly doing what Boston does.
Yep.
Just getting the pieces together that you were like, huh, at the beginning of the year, and now you're going, oh yeah, this is a really good team, huh?
Yeah. If they manage to beat Dallas next week, I think that I think that will put them into the stage playoffs.
They would have to beat them. I think they have to beat them 3-1. They have to do 3-1 because they have to gain 2 maps. And I think maybe the Charge have to lose.
Do have the map differential on them. They just don't have the wins.
Yeah.
But honestly, I
like watching them play too.
I wouldn't be surprised because this team is good and Fusions is a beast.
Yeah.
Holy crap! This team is so good when Fusions is in there.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah. All right. Here's a scenario. I just pulled it up. They're 1 map behind of Guangzhou, who has the last spot in. Mm-hmm. Who's at +3? Boston's at +2.
Right.
So they just have to win, and they'll be ahead because.
Guangzhou would have to lose as well. If they win, I think you are right. If they win 3-1, that would put Dallas out and put them in.
No, Dallas is 4-2. They would tie them.
That would put Dallas at 4-3.
Yeah, so Guangzhou has to lose. The Charge have to lose regardless.
Okay, yeah. Well, they're probably going to because they're playing Vancouver.
Yeah. So depending on how they lose, which if they get 4-0, they're going to go to 3-4 -1.
Right.
So that would just drop them out. Boston would have to just win because San Francisco's 4-3 with a +5. Atlanta's 3-2 with a +5. Dallas is 4-2 with a +1. So basically, they got to take care of their business.
Right. If Boston takes care of business, then they're most likely in.
Which they're very good at.
Oh, yeah.
They are a methodical, good, just well-coached, well-disciplined team.
They really are.
It's the same thing as last year. They don't get themselves into bad positions. Mm-hmm. The only time things bite them in the ass is when things with roster weirdness. That's really the only time that they got fucked was last year, with Dream Pervert and
then this year with the Fusions thing.
Yeah. I mean, they could have been the Fusions thing and then having 1 DPS player with somebody suspended.
Right.
It just... Other than that, I mean, their play is generally solid.
It really is. Note is still probably the best among the top 3 divas in the league.
Yeah, I mean, he might not wow you with numbers.
But he just makes plays and,
whether he's eating
dirty work.
Whether he's eating grabs or...
He's eating grabs. He's using his defense matrix to save his teammates. Just
peeling.
The little things that he does. His peeling is amazing.
Yeah, for Fusions and stuff like that, because Fusions is hyper aggressive, so you need that.
Right.
And he does a great job. And they never fuck themselves in ult economy.
Yes. They are very disciplined with their ults.
Yeah. And the only thing I will say is sometimes on the initial dry push, eco push, whatever you want to call it, they're a little passive. They kind of poke a little too much trying to build ult.
Yeah.
Instead of kind of trying to get a little aggressive into a fight. Yeah,
and there's times where that does bite them because it helps the other team build up their ults faster and then they lose.
Yeah, but they eventually catch up.
Right.
Which is amazing because they're just smart players. They might not get the most mechanically skilled players and all that kind of thing, but they get really intelligent players.
For sure.
Yeah. And right now, 9, I think it's a good spot. I think they could go higher eventually, depending on where this meta goes. I'm afraid for them if it goes into a massive DPS meta.
Yeah, that's probably the worst case scenario for them, is if it does end up being the Wrecking Ball 3 DPS 2 healer meta that is rumored.
Yeah, and the only thing is you have a good Mercy in Kelix.
Right.
And you have a good D.Va player. D.Va, I just don't see how D.Va gets taken out of the meta.
Yeah.
I think it could end up being a 2-3-1, where you have Mercy as your healer.
Right.
and you're running Diva, Wrecking Ball, and a couple of DPS, or you're running. I don't know. It's hard to really start figuring out. I really would love to.
It's gonna be tough.
I would love to watch some of these scrims and see where this is going.
Right? Oh man. All right. So
it's probably gonna end up being fucking May goats.
God.
Snoats.
Kill me now.
Yeah.
All right. So let's move on to number 8. So 7 and 8 for us again are flipped.
Yeah.
At 8, I have the Dallas Fuel, and you have the Gladiators.
Yeah, I have the Gladiators at 8 just because they were amazing this week. By the way, just absolutely phenomenal. It's just how bad they played to start frightened me. I guess
that's fair. I can totally understand that.
That being said, Dallas is frightening as well.
Yeah.
Having them in the Gladiators in the top 10 right now is kind of scary.
Right.
From my brain point of view. But
I feel like obviously the Gladiators aren't going to make it. I put them in this spot simply because they show the most potential going into the next stage with these 2 games that they played this week and the sheer dominance that they showed.
Yeah,
and this is exactly what we were expecting this team to give us at the beginning of the season.
I mean, they absolutely just kicked everyone's ass this week. And
like that, I feel like that should terrify everybody because whatever things that they were doing wrong, because it was all just like
it was
tiny little things that were going wrong, and like they fixed them all in a week.
I don't know how they did that, but
just something must have clicked, and they just are rolling right now.
And one of the things that clicked was, like we were talking about last week, was they're putting more resources into protecting Roar, because he was absolutely a beast this week.
Yes, he was.
The thing is Decay seemed to have got comfortable really fast. Well, he did play with Roar, so
I think that was part of why they struggled last week. Because, like, you put Decay in, so, like, they were starting to figure things out, but then you throw another wrench in it by putting in another player who's never played in the league, he's never played on a big stage like this. Like, there's a lot of new things that he's going to be experiencing.
Yeah, and he seemed to bubble him at the right time. He was way better. Like, he had that really good game, the first game last week, and then he was crappy in the second game. But he was fantastic all week. And that should just frighten people.
Yeah, and that's why I put them above Dallas, because I feel like with their potential has really shot them up. Whereas with Dallas, I feel like they're kind of peaking right now.
Yeah, I think they got their shit together is what they
did. Like, for sure, like, Dallas has looked really good so far. They looked excellent on Saturday. Well, I guess it was technically Friday.
The late game. But AKM has been a godsend. And you know what? Unko's been playing fantastic, man.
Yes, Unko's been very, very good.
And I think the Zachary thing is starting to work out a little bit as he gets more comfortable. Mm-hmm. And as long as they keep Oj alive,
right?
Which is rough sometimes because, well,
man, he does what he goes hard, right? Yeah. Well, I think also it seems like they finally have figured out their lineup and they're just rolling it out more consistently. Yeah, and that's the best thing that they could do is just find this lineup and throw it out there.
And it seems to be working
no matter
well.
What happens, go for it. Yeah.
Because they're starting a good synergy together, like with RCK and Unko and AKM, Zachary, and the whole team. They just look like a team for a change. Yeah. Like you're not going, who's Dallas going to dump in here now? Right.
Like, are they just going to take AKM out after he'd had a really good map and for no reason? Or are they going to take out Closer and put in
whoever else?
Yeah.
Taimu. Oh, wait, Kaikai's not coaching.
Yeah.
Taimu, sub-inch for Oj.
Yeah, exactly.
We need some Winston play.
Ugh. God.
Yeah. Anyway, but they look like a team, and
they do.
The Dynasty look like they did last year.
Yeah.
Just confusing as fuck. And they're not confusing this year. They're playing this meta really well. They figured out their line, like you said. They figured out their lineup. They're sticking with it, and It's paying dividends.
Absolutely.
I mean, we both thought Shanghai would have the best of them in this one, but we were wrong in that.
Yes, we were.
Well, and also you take two of the coaches that they have like 19 coaches. You have Jane and Arrow. They're just going to figure out what to do. And then if they'll figure out all the scenarios, if they're playing their team 2 weeks in a row, what's going to happen? They're just smart dudes.
Well, also, I think Jane figured out that he just needs to shut his mouth.
Yeah.
Put his phone down. Stop going on Twitter. Stop going on your stream and saying just fucking coach your team, dude.
Stop baiting people. Do the VOD reviews, though, because I want to see those, because those are good.
Those are great. And I love when he does that. But, like, stop talking smack. Just go out, coach your team. And that's the best thing you can do for everybody.
Yeah. Someone had to have said something to him. Stop baiting people, please.
Right. It's really kind of what it feels like.
Yeah. Because he's dialed it down a lot.
He really has.
Which is fine. I think he needed to a little bit. He probably realized that, too.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm getting a little out of line here.
Especially when he talks so much shit, and then they got stomped. Like, that was probably where they're just like, hey, dude, you want to shut your mouth? Yeah. That'd be great.
This isn't a comp game on stream, dude.
Right.
People are getting paid money for this. More than... Well, anyway, I was like, trying to figure out the numbers there. Yeah, maybe not. I don't know.
People this is their living right now. Like,
a lot of people.
Dude. Yeah.
They might pull your... You keep talking smack to Philadelphia. They might pull your cable if you live in a certain spot.
Right.
You won't have any fucking internet to stream.
All right, let's move on to number 6. We both have the Reign.
Yeah. Wow, did they get fucking... Oof.
Yeah. I mean, as much as we talked about how well the Gladiators played,
that was one of the biggest...
got smashed this week.
That was one of the biggest ass kickings I've ever seen in this league.
It was rough.
That was like one of those ones last year when the NYXL like mashed on Shanghai or Florida or something like that.
Right.
They just absolutely fucking destroyed them.
And no matter what Atlanta tried to do, everything they threw at them was just not working. Like, even though they got all 3 points on Kings Row, they struggled to get there. Yeah.
And they were lucky to get that.
Right. They really were.
I was watching that going, oh, man. I have not seen a team play, I don't want to say that bad. They played bad.
Yeah. It was just a bad week. I think that
I'm doing my impression of the week before. Dogman's feeding.
Oof. Yeah. Well, I think there was a couple of factors to it. I think they came in overly cocky, which is something that I think both of us worried about with this team. Is like if they do start playing really, really well, if they get that over cockiness and that overconfidence,
and then they saw the Gladiators were like all fucked up and not playing well.
Exactly, and I think they also prepared for the Gladiators in a sense in thinking that they were a much worse team than they actually are. Yeah,
exactly. And there's some points on there. All the guys that we talked about that were playing really well played really awful.
Yeah.
Dogman was terrible.
Dogman was bad.
Massa was getting caught out of position all the time. DeFran was okay.
He was good, but there was times where he was just being over aggressive, and they were baiting it out, and then in turn that was getting Pokpo destroyed, and like Pokpo, there was a few times where Pokpo would die first because he just wasn't getting the proper support or the proper things they needed.
Yeah, he wasn't getting bubbled at the right time or anything like that.
It just went to complete and utter shit.
Yeah. For as good as Atlanta played against Paris, They played equally as bad this week.
Yeah, I would say probably the only player that really played consistently was Daco.
Yeah, Daco, he's pretty consistent anyway, to be honest. I mean, he
really is.
I mean, there are times like I love those guys on that team because I love the swag and I love the attitude and all that stuff. But there are times they start getting their teeth kicked in. They don't have that, all right, guys, let's show them what we're about.
Right.
They have that, fuck this.
Yeah.
And
like, oh, God damn it, this is going bad.
Yeah.
Like,
not throwing, but just the, what is this going to be over
yet?
Yeah.
Right.
Not like, and I'm going to throw Vancouver out there. Totally, Chengdu was doing the weird shit, and they were kind of beating him a little bit, and then I was like, all right, guys, enough fucking around.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have that grit like that.
Yeah.
When things are going good, they're kicking your teeth in, and we talked about this. We wanted to see what happens when someone punches them in the mouth first, and this is what happened.
Yeah.
They're the guy that talks smack that gets hit in the face, and then they go run to their mom.
Right. They might come back and try to fight you again later, but in that moment,
they're just done.
Yeah, I agree. And I think next week they're basically going to solidify their playoff spot because they have a really easy schedule. They're playing Chengdu and Houston. Chengdu could surprise them, so I think that's probably the game that is circled on their map or on their schedule of like, we have to come out and just play really strong against this team and not let them bait out and do all their weirdness.
Yeah. But the one thing is,
that's going to be a good sign of like, where they're at as a team is how they play in that game.
The one thing with that game though too with Atlanta, Chengdu can try that. Atlanta's just as good at that.
Yeah, they are.
Oh, you want to play that? Fuck you. Watch this.
Right.
I mean, I know I went off on a thing that they can't take a punch in the mouth or whatever, but they're still a good team. Don't get me wrong. It's just I was worried about what would happen if someone came out that strong on them, what their reaction would be, and it was unfortunately one of the things that was in the back of my mind.
It was underwhelming.
Yeah. And
for sure.
Maybe they get it together and they're gonna want to trash Houston.
Yeah.
Because they kind of want that. They want to be the best Western team, and how people talk, with all the players and all that. And plus, their fans are a bunch of nuts anyway.
Right.
Both of them.
Oh God, the trash talk from that game is going to be insane between those two fan bases.
I really just want to throw a bone in the middle of the ring and see what the hell happens there. Oh
God.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. All right, let's move up to the next slot.
5 and 4, we have once again we're flipped. At 5, you have the Fusion. I have Toronto.
Yeah, I am at 4. They're kind of most of our picks are really interchangeable.
Right.
The only reason why I have the Fusion below them when they got to be able to play good when certain people aren't in there. That was the one thing. Boombox wasn't in there, and they went to shit.
Yeah,
but
true.
That being said, they still played pretty solid.
I would say this is, like, even though it went 2-3 against the Valiant, who are just a bad team.
There are certain teams that know other teams, too, from last year. So
right.
Some of that stuff is kind of weird. Like, New York went 3-2 with the Valiant. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like they know each other. Right. They know what this guy's going to do. And I know it's a different meta. I know it's a different meta, but it doesn't matter sometimes.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like you played some of these teams so many times that it's just like their tendencies no matter what character they're playing as or what the meta is or anything. And I think this game in particular just showed again that it's like when you back Philly against the wall, that's when they play their best. Yes,
exactly. If you punch them in the mouth, they're going to come out and kick you in the nuts and fucking punch your face in.
They're gonna grab you're gonna punch them in the mouth, and then they're gonna grab your face and knee you.
Yeah.
Like pull your head down to their knee type of move. Like
They're that guy in those like Stallone movies when they get punched in the face, they spit their teeth out at you and they start smiling like,
exactly.
All right, buddy, let's go.
That is 100% this team.
And I kind of like that. My adopted team is kind of like that too.
Yeah, and like
they're kind of similar.
Yeah, they are similar in that. I don't know. Like, I put Philly up above just because of their pedigree up to this point. But I'm going to
be brutally honest. I put Toronto at 4 just out of spite. I think they're 4 or 5 interchangeable. I think they're actually, if you really go 5 to 8, I think all those teams are interchangeable to an extent.
Right, and each one of those teams could absolutely
beat the other
smash the other team at any one time. Like,
yeah.
And like it could be like a very one-sided game.
Oh yeah.
From any of those teams.
But Philly is playing good, and I like some of these old teams, like last year's teams, just coming out and showing, hey, you guys are talking about the wacky teams and the pink team and this team. We're still good.
Here. Yeah, exactly.
And we're still going to knock your teeth in. And they get consistent play. And the thing is, Carpe is playing fantastic on Zarya. EQO does what he has to do. Mm-hmm. And then you're getting Boombox, and the only guy that's kind of off is Sado.
Right. And honestly, the scariest thing with this team is this is probably the weakest possible meta for them.
Yeah.
Because like you're relegating 2 of their best players to a tank and a healer.
If it goes to a 2-2-2 type of thing, which I wanted to not be that, sort of. I want to see the whole DPS thing, but the way these teams want healing and resources, it's probably going to be somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Because you're going to have to...
I think it'll be a various... I think it's going to be a lot of variations of 2-2-2.
Yeah.
And that's... Honestly, I think that's the best possible thing we can hope for.
And I don't mind watching goats on certain maps. I think it's absolutely necessary. And I don't find it atrocious to watch.
No.
If it's played right, it's fantastic.
Right.
It does turn into the light show thing a lot, and you're just like, okay, dust clears. Okay,
and everyone's still alive.
It's still 6v6.
Right.
But nobody has an ult. All right.
Right. But yeah, Philly looks good, but I think Toronto, I'm kind of with you. Like they just continue to impress, and we continue to just be vindicated in our opinion of this team that we thought that they were going to be really damn good. And hey, guess what? They are.
I said this on the stream. You were probably sick and not in there. They remind me of the Giants in 1990-91. They're not going to wow you. Like there's no flash. I mean, there's flashy plays, but you're not going, oh wow, this team is like glitzy. They don't have the EQO. They don't have Carpe. They don't have Prophet.
No, they have Lawrence Taylor.
Yeah.
Envy.
Yeah, they have Lawrence Taylor, but they have a run. They have the running game. They have the defense, and they're just gonna grind you to death.
Yeah.
And if you can't handle the grind, they're gonna bury you.
Yeah. And
we had that thing with Bren, which I get his point, and I totally respect it. But saying someone minimalizing mistakes is not great. That's what fucking great teams do, man. Mm-hmm. Are they on New York and Vancouver's level? No. But minimizing mistakes is the whole point of being a good team.
Yeah.
And taking advantage of other teams' mistakes. They do the grab bomb combo thing. They always get something.
Right.
Whether they get, the grab and someone gets a pin, like Yakpung gets a pin out of it, or, Envy does a 5 kill like he did yesterday. I mean, there's just things that come out of that. They're just...
Yeah, pretty much. I don't know. Looking at his point on that, like...
I get it.
I I get it, but I'm with you in that, like, minimizing mistakes is, like, such a crucial part of being a good team. Like,
yeah, they make mistakes for sure.
Oh yeah,
yeah, and that's why I can't have them.
Right, like they are not the well-oiled machine that is our top 3 at this point. Like,
yeah, and their schedule was a little bit easier. I will say that, but
they have definitely gotten some benefits of having the schedule that they have. But that being said, like, I still think that they will most likely make it to the semifinals of the stage playoffs.
Yeah, they have trouble with teams like the Reign, though.
Yeah.
I mean, certain types of teams, and I would throw Philadelphia in there. Those teams that are kind of coordinated, aggressive. They're aggressive, but they have a different kind of aggression.
They're like defensively aggressive.
Yeah, like the Giants.
Yeah, like
the old school Giants, or
they're just like, okay, come on, bring it to us.
You got to get through this.
Yeah.
Plus, Nako didn't fucking die this weekend.
Yeah,
that also helps.
God. Like, that's I think the biggest thing for this team is, like, they were really good without Nako, and then you bring him in, and they're better, and then I feel like they still have the potential to be even better than what they are now. Like, that's the scariest thing is, like,
I want to see what they're like in a different
together
meta, too. Yeah.
For what? Since the beginning of the stage?
Like, yeah, I mean, since
whereas, like, New York and Vancouver and even San Francisco to a point, like, they've had multiple
months,
years
Philly.
Or multiple months to play together. Obviously, with New York and Vancouver, like, they've had years together.
Right, and that's the thing people forget about Vancouver. It's like they just have a different uniform on, guys.
Right, like this is Runaway.
Yeah, they're living up to their name.
Crazy. Yeah, no kidding. My God.
In both respects of Runaway.
Yes.
In the, Monty Python Runaway. And they're running away with things. But anyway, I talked a lot about Toronto yesterday, but and I love it when these guys have to grind their teeth and say that Toronto's good.
Yes.
I mean, you guys can consider me a fan, but you know what? It's in the back going, yeah, come on, say it. You gotta fucking say it now, don't you? Come on, Monty. You gotta say it. Yep. They beat your beloved pink fucking team, didn't they?
Yeah. Oh, that is something I did want to bring up. I don't know if you talked about it on the stream yesterday, but man, the salt that was coming out of Monty when they were playing Hangzhou was just like you could cut through it. With
it's like he wanted to push one of those guys away. Get the fuck off this. I'm taking over on this fucking spot because we have to beat Toronto.
Right. Like, God, they were just going so hard on Hangzhou and, like, saying how good they could be and, like, how bad everything is for them going right now. Like not giving Toronto any credit.
Yeah. Hangzhou's playing bad. Toronto's not playing good.
Right.
And that was a consistent theme for the whole stage, really.
Yeah.
Even when they beat fucking Houston. Houston. Come on, man. It's Houston.
No kidding.
That's my Allen Iverson.
My God.
And if you can deduct it's Houston, it's practice. Yeah, that was going on.
Practice?
It's Houston?
Practice? Houston? We talking about Houston?
Just more hate.
Oh, man.
Yeah, anyway.
But yeah, like, Toronto looks great.
Yeah,
they're so good. And, like, they're the closest thing we have to a Midwest team, so they're pretty much my team at this point.
Yeah, I like their colors. I like their logo.
Right. I got praise for having the Diva Toronto skin.
Oh, I got that one, too.
In one of my, what was it? I think it was Team Deathmatch.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like right after their game against Hangzhou, and he's just like, dude, we fucking won that game. It was so awesome. Like, you're a god for having that skin. Like, yeah. And I was just like, yes. I'm so glad I have this right now.
Yeah, I have that on my main account and my alt account. I have the Defiant Diva skin. It's just a must.
It is.
I also got the Zarya one.
Oh,
because
that's
Ivy's a
probably
fucking
one I should
beast.
get. Yeah, Ivy's a monster. Yeah, and that's honestly we haven't really talked enough about Ivy. Like that dude is so good at Zarya. Holy,
and
it's ridiculous.
They're just all around good, and people are just gonna have to deal with it.
They are.
They're it's like they don't have the crazy vocal fans, so maybe I'll just take up that mantle and be the asshole.
Right.
And I'm okay with that. I did that last year with the Mayhem. I can do that. I really don't want to talk about them. Maybe I'm deflecting.
But now you got a team that's worth doing that for.
Yeah. I like both teams, though. I think the Mayhem could be something if they get... I've been harping on the coaching for, a year and a half now?
Yeah, no kidding. If they get their coaching situation together, I think they have the talent to be far better than what they're showing. Yeah. All right. So let's move on to our top three. We got number 3, San Francisco Shock. And
don't fight us on this one.
Yeah, I mean, it pains us to rank this team this high. Yeah. Still, they are the bros from the Bay, but god damn it, they're so good.
Yeah,
and even in their 4-0 loss, they still looked really good against New York.
Yeah, the teams they lost to are the teams above them,
right?
And the Gladiators, who took a nap for 4 games.
Yeah.
Seriously. San Francisco is good. And adding Violet in there just added something. Yeah, they didn't... New York and Vancouver, they're going to lose. It's going to be like last year where these teams, they're going to catch you off guard. Philadelphia might beat the Titans or, Paris comes up and beats New York. It's going to be one of those weird fucking situations. Didn't Houston last year, they beat London?
I think they beat New York.
Yeah, they beat New York. No, Philly beat New York. London... That was that whole where before they changed the stage playoffs. Didn't Houston and London play 2 games back to back?
Yeah, something weird. It was weird.
Yeah, but they beat London. It just stuff happens. But San Francisco is good. They
really are.
We did not want to say it, but adding Violet in there was great, and Sinatra is fantastic on Zarya, and Super played out of his fucking mind this week.
Yeah.
He was fantastic.
And that's been the one thing that we've been harping on this team is their tank line just underwhelmed, but Super has played fantastically this week.
Yeah.
And then, honestly, one of their most underrated players, I would say, is Choi Hobin.
Yeah. These guys are getting so good at eating crabs.
Oh my god.
It's just
he must have gotten. He had 4 or 5 grabs eaten from Shadowburn.
Yeah,
it was ridiculous. I think he ate a couple of nays as well.
Yeah, you better not go up against the Valiant and fucking Kareev will never get one off.
Right, God.
No, but they're solid, and they're way better in this meta than I thought they were going to be.
Yeah,
and I think that there's a possibility they could do something in the stage playoffs. I really think there is.
Yeah.
Come up and beat a Vancouver or New York. I mean, it's as crazy as it sounds right now after watching those 2 teams play.
Right.
But they're a complete team. They have 3 losses, but 2 of them are to the 2 teams above them, and 1 is a team that should be above them, but it floundered at half the stage. In my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
That's technically, not technically, roster-wise on the same level as San Francisco is the Gladiators, and they did not play up to their potential most of the stage.
Yeah.
They just turned it on at the end.
Yeah, exactly. And I think San Francisco's roster is living up to their loftiness that they have. And I think... actually, a really underrated pickup that they've had this year was Rascal. Rascal's getting a lot of play, and his Brigitte is very good.
Pretty good, yeah. And I just, when you look on the bench, you're like, they have a fucking all-star team on the bench.
Right.
They got Architect and Baby Bay and Striker just sitting there waiting.
It's ridiculous. Yeah. This team, and that's the other thing is not only in this meta are they playing really well, but it's going to be, it has the potential to be even better in the next meta.
Yeah.
Like that should terrify everybody.
Yeah. One thing we didn't say, actually, I want to go back to Gladiators. As much as we've been harping on hydration, that has been one of the biggest improvements that they've had in the last few games.
Sure.
He's fucking stepped it up, man. And
I mean,
why don't
I saw a stat today where he went from dying in 13 point something % of team fights, and he dropped it down this week to 7.
Yeah, and they absolutely mash people.
Cut it in half. Like, that is a dramatic improvement, and it showed.
Yeah.
So huge props to hydration for that.
And
for sure.
Put him on the wrecking ball if you need a wrecking ball.
Yeah.
Because goddamn, I mean, they had no business winning that point on Anubis there, and I was like,
right. Okay. But honestly, we shouldn't be surprised that he is that good at wrecking ball.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of like his niche is like those
weird heroes.
Weird heroes. Yeah. Oh God! I just turned on the match. It was on Horizon, San Francisco versus Paris, and the freaking flanking shatter that Super had.
Yeah, that was amazing.
That was ridiculous.
I love the flank shatter.
Lord.
If those work, they're amazing. If they don't, you're kind of fucked. But
yeah, see that one worked. That one worked really well because they were just all on the high ground, and all he did was just go. He went the opposite way as the rest of the team, and their whole team was focused on so it was just a perfectly played setup. I loved it. But yeah, let's move on to number 2.
We have a little
Here's our surprise guy.
Yeah.
Yep.
New York.
Number 2, we put New York.
Yeah, both of us said New York.
As good as New York has looked, I mean, just what the Vancouver Titans have been doing, I had to bump them up.
Yeah, and it's not that New York's been playing bad, because they've been playing phenomenal.
Oh, they're incredible.
And
they absolutely mashed San Francisco. So, in reality, there's really no reason we should have put Vancouver up. But, there's just something about the way that Vancouver's been playing.
There's a slight uptick in that. It's not like there's much of a difference, though.
Right. It is literally 1A, 1B.
Because, I said, well, New York got taken a 5 by the Valiant. And then I was like, well, Chengdu took Vancouver to 5.
Right.
But when they play the big teams, they just absolutely crush them.
Right. And then also, when it really comes down to the point, or when it matters, that's when they come through and just have their best moments. And, that's what Vancouver just has consistently done. I mean, it's not even to say that New York hasn't done that either, but Vancouver's just been more impressive, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think it's weirder. It's weirder watching New York play this meta when you're not used to seeing, Libero playing one of his heroes, and then either Sabiobi or Pine or somebody like that in there. You know what I mean? It's just weird. I think that's what it is. They're playing it really well, but you're watching it going, there's something wrong, and the wrong thing is they're not playing the normal meta we're used to watching them play. They're still executing at a stupid level. The mistakes are minimal. Nene is top 3 Zarya's right now? Mm-hmm. Him and Xiaomin Su. And hell, let's look at the top 3. 1, 2, 3. Top Zarya's. Xiaomin Su, Nene, and Sinatra.
And then right behind him,
Carpe and Ivy. I mean, you could throw a couple other guys in. Yeah. I guess you need a Zarya player. Yeah. A really good one. Just, I mean, we're talking about both the teams at the same time, kind of. Jonak went fucking nuts this week.
My God.
Jonak was just, all right, mid-season form now.
Right.
I had him on because I was sick watching him play San Francisco, and I was just like, okay, Jonak is doing more than Jonak things now.
Yeah.
It's like when he goes up against somebody that they say is on his level, he goes beyond Terminator mode.
Right.
It's just like, you're not even going to breathe, motherfucker. Let alone do your job. I'm going to destroy everything you know.
Right. Good Lord.
And Vancouver, like, Twilight's great. I mean, he's not like that, but as a group, they're like that. They're like a swarm of bees. Mm-hmm. Like killer bees or something. I don't know where I'm going with this. They just, as a team, they know what everybody's going to do, especially in this meta, and you can just watch it. You know, they know Bumper's going to go on the side, chatter up the stairs, kind of sneak behind somebody.
Right.
You know, somebody's always ready with trance. They always have like the repair pack ready for him or whatever. There's never a moment where you're like, oh wow, that went really bad.
Yeah, right.
I mean, it happens a lot with New York too, but like with Vancouver, like, oh, that went really bad. You're just like, oh, they lost that fight. Oh, they got outplayed.
And then they're fine.
Yeah.
And then they'll just go in and regroup and look like the same team.
Yeah. And then they take the point back and it's done.
Right.
Especially like on those King of the Hill maps. They go in on the eco, they take it. They might lose like some kind of ult battle. And, you know, they'll pump it up to like 65%.
Mm-hmm.
The other team will take it because they have like the ult economy war 1. They'll just come back and be like, all right, we got 5 ults now. This is over.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, they're just insane. And
also, both of these teams, I think the most impressive thing that both of them can do is their ability to stagger a point.
Ugh, yeah.
Like, it is
just hang on.
Ridiculous how many times where it's just like, oh, hey, there's just like 1 or 2 guys left in a fight against like 5 other players, and they'll just hold it until the rest of their team gets back, and then they just mash.
Yeah.
Like, it's unreal how good they are at it. Both of them. Yeah.
Or in the same realm, they're both good at that, like on those King of the Hill maps. The one guy bouncing around on the map, but it gets like 20% out of nowhere.
Right.
Like, why aren't you dead? like fucking Mechos running around there like a mini diva. Like, you can't kill that? I know you're trying to stagger it, but look at the clock, guys. He got 20% because you wanted to stagger them more, but he got the last slap. You know,
it's insane. Yeah, like like what else can we say about both of these teams?
Yeah.
Like,
and the thing is they both have great tank lines. They both have great support lines. Their DPS or whatever you want to call them now, they're utility players. The Zarya Brigida players are fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think with Vancouver especially, they showed that, like, Bumper is an incredible main tank, but Janu might be the best diva player in the league.
Yeah.
Like, hands down, I don't know if there's anybody better than him, because anytime Bumper got taken out, Janu stepped up, especially in the Chengdu game, because there was, like, Bumper didn't look great in that game.
No. Chaos going on in there.
Janu absolutely stepped up and won the game for them, basically. Yeah. Again. That's not the first time that he's done that either.
Yeah. He did that against the Charge.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, we could have put him at number 2 because the Charge took him to 5, but the Charge is a good team. And New York just rolled over all the good teams, and I don't know. It's really 1 and 1A. It's really not 1-2. Don't read too much into the numbers.
It's really
It's like literally a hair better.
Right, and it's like I think we'll get a slightly more clearer picture next week. Obviously, New York played all of their games, so we've seen everything that we can see from New York in this stage up to the playoffs. But we're going to see Vancouver play Guangzhou again. I think that's going to be a good indicator, because if Vancouver comes out and mashes Guangzhou like a 4-0 stomp, then they are clearly, because then that means that they're going back, they're watching the film of the first game and then watching what else Guangzhou has been doing.
Exactly. And they're just figuring out what they did wrong the last time they played them, where they got in trouble and all that stuff, and they just figure it out. Which I think they're big brain enough to do that. Good thing they're out in the Valiant to be sitting on the bench.
No kidding.
All right, guys. So that's been the power rankings for this week. Don't forget to hit a like and hit a subscribe. All of the good stuff on YouTube. Rate us on iTunes and all that kind of good stuff. Thanks a lot, and feel free to hit the comments down below. You know how much we like to go back and forth with you guys. Don't forget too, one of us is usually in on Discord on the weekends, and the late games if we're not working. We got some other stuff coming up later in the week we'll talk to you guys about. It's really exciting. It's going to be fun, and we will talk to you guys later.
Catch you guys in the next one. Later.